This is my fucking chocolate factory. Consider me fucking Willy Wonka. This is a dictatorship. Consider me fucking Hitler. I am the dictator of freestyle rapping, never ending, spitting a spatin. But look for the rulers that men don't think. Success is the sole earthly judge of right and wrong. When we have one war, who will question our methods regarding the invasion of the USSR. We must forget the concept of comradeship between soldiers. A communist is no comrade before or after this battle. This is a war of annihilation. Comparing himself with British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain. Mr. Chamberlain likes to take weekends in the country. I shall take countries in the weekend. Art is the most endearing investment. The family is the smallest but most precious unit in the building a state. The Jew are definitely a race, but they are not human. Strength lies not in defense but in attack. I cannot be mistaken. What I say and do is historical. I follow my life in the precision and security of a sleepwalker. My father I respected, my mother I loved. We don't say to the rich, give to the poor. We say German people help each other, rich or poor. Each one must help thinking there's someone even poorer than I am, and I want to help them as a fellow countryman. This is my fucking chocolate factory. Consider me fucking Willy Wonka. This is a dictatorship. Consider me Hitler. I am the dictator of freestyle rapping. When a man is starving in the streets, he's not thinking of bread and water, but of caviar and champagne. Terrorism is the best political weapon, for nothing drives people harder than a fear of sudden death. Society needs come before the individual needs. The great time has just begun. Germany has awoken. We have one power in Germany. Now we have to win over the German people. I know my comrades that it must have been difficult at times when you desired change that never came. So again and again the appeal had to be made to continue the struggle. You mustn't act yourself. You must obey. You must give in. You must submit to the overwhelming need to obey. A new community is being built in Germany, and it is our most beautiful goal and aim. Those who cannot see past their own nose deserve our pity more than anything else. It is the luck to help which rewards those who commit themselves to this socialist state, and this commitment must happen every new when our social welfare system is so much more than just to charity, because we do not say to the rich people, please give something to the poor. Instead we say, German people, help yourself. Everybody must help, whether you are rich or poor. Everyone must have the belief that there's always someone in a much worse situation than I am, and this I want to help as a comrade. If one should say yes, but do I have to sacrifice a lot? That is the glory of giving. When you sacrifice for your community, then you can walk with your head held up high. Never ending rhymes. This is my chocolate factory. Consider me fucking Willy Wonka. This is a dictatorship, and I'm fucking Hitler. I'm the dictator of freestyle rapper. What we dreamed for years has become a reality. The symbol of the unification of all classes of German people had become the symbol of the new reach, and thus it has become the standard of the German people. The most precious possession you have in the world is your own people. And for this people, and for the sake of this people, we will struggle and fight, and never stricken, never slacken, never tired, never lose courage, and never lose faith. We will fight until the bitter end. The struggle against Marxism has for the first time evolved into a united struggle. For the first time, I allow myself as a known man to start a war and not rest until this plague has begun. Removed from the German way of life. We don't have their colonies. We don't have the opportunities or international world connections which these states and people possess. Our reach, which is so cramped and which has so few of the necessity for the necessities for life needs to be carefully and thoughtfully cultivated and managed. We cannot succeed without planning, my German youth, just as we're gathered here, my young comrades, as part of the life of the people, so must the rest of the people. It was not always so. In the past, people did not want to understand each other. Each thought only of themselves, at best their class alone. We have been witnesses to the consequences of his aberration of the spirit. In your mouth you must safeguard that which you possess, the great feeling of comradeship, of being a part of the group. If you hold on to this, then and there is no force in the world who can take it from you. You'll be one people bound together as tightly as you are now. Bop, 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 bop. I am coming now, now. The Germans are invading Poland now. The Germans are gonna take over the world. This is a dictatorship. Consider me fucking Hitler. This is my chocolate factory. Consider me fucking Willy Wonka. I'm the dictator, a freestyle rapper. Faith of the people, my youth, are indeed the living guarantee of the living future of Germany. Not an empty idea, not an empty formalism or an inside plan. No, you are the blood of our blood, the flesh of our flesh, and the spirit of our spirit. You are the continuation of our people. May Germany live and make her future, which lives, and you be praised. Hearing Richard Wagner's music for the first time at age 12, and one instant I was addicted. Weakness must be hammered away. I want a brutal, domineering, fearless, cruel youth. Youth must be all that. It must bear pain. There must be nothing weak and gentle about it. The free, splendid beast of prey must once again flash from its eyes. That is how I will create the new world order. Anyone who sees and paints a sky green and fields blue ought to be sterilized. Terrorism is the best political weapon, for nothing drives people harder than a fear of sudden death. To a German people after the start of World War I, we will not give up. We will not rest. We shall be victorious. Our time has come. Any philosophy, whether of a religious or a political nature, and sometimes the dividing line is hard to determine, fights less for the negative destruction of the opposing ideology than for the positive promotion of its own. Hence, struggle is less defensive than offensive. It therefore has the advantage even in determining the goal, since this goal represents the victory of its own ideology. Conversely, it is hard to determine when the negative aim of the destruction of a hostile doctrine may be regarded as achieved and assured. For this reason, along the philosophies, offensive will be more systematic and also more powerful than the defensive against the philosophy. Since here, too, as always, the attack and not the defense makes the decision. The fight against the spiritual power with methods of violence remains defensive. However, until the sword becomes the support, the herald and disseminator of a new spiritual doctrine. He who would live must fight. He who doesn't wish to fight in this world where permanent struggle is the law of life has not the right to exist. Secular schools can never be tolerated because such schools have no religious instruction, and a general moral instruction without a religious foundation is built on air. Consequently, all character training and religion must be derived from faith. We need believe in people. About the Munich Agreement, Chamberlain was such a charming old man, I felt I had to give him my autograph. General Halder's diary, some summation of a Hitler speech. Britain's hope lies in Russia and the United States. If Russia drops out of the picture, America too is lost for Britain, because elimination of Russia would tremendously increase Japan's power in the Far East. Russia is the far eastern sword of Britain, and the United States pointed at Japan. Russia is the factor upon which Britain is relying most. Something must have happened in London, which with Russia smashed, Britain's last hope would be shattered. Germany will then beat the master of Europe and the Balkans. Decision, Russia's destruction must therefore be made a part of the struggle. Spring 1941, the sooner Russia is crushed, the better attack achieves its purpose. Only if Russia's state can be shattered to its roots with one blow. Holding part of the country will not do. Standing still for the following winter would be perilous. Resolute determination to eliminate Russia. Moscow must disappear from the Earth's surface as soon as its riches have been brought to shelter or ender. I'm a dictator rapper. The great strength of the totalitarian state is that it forces those who fear it to imitate it. The British Isles looks like a great chicken waiting for its neck to be broken. Churchill's response from some chicken, some neck. I believe bam bam wham bam ba bam bam ba ba bam wham ba bam bam. My rhythm, my national anthem, my dictator national anthem, a rhythm, a symphony, never stop rapping, monopoly. This is my fucking chocolate factory. Consider me fucking Willy Wonka. This is a dictatorship. Consider me fucking Hitler. I'm the dictator of freestyle rapping. I believe today that I I am acting in the sense of the Almighty Creator by warding off the Jews. I am fighting for the Lord's work. I believe today that I am acting in the sense of the Almighty Creator by warding off the Jews. I am fighting for the Lord's work. The human world of ours would be inconceivable without the practical existence of religious belief. The anti-Semitism of a new movement, Christian social movement, was based on religious ideas instead of racial knowledge. What we have to fight for is the freedom and independence of the fatherland so that our people may be able to fulfill the mission assigned to it by the Creator. My feelings as a Christian points me to my Lord and Savior my Savior as a fighter. It points me to the man who once is in loneliness, surrounded by a few followers, recognized these Jews for what they were and summoned men to fight against them, and who God's truth was greatest, not as a sufferer, but as a fighter, and boundless love as a Christian and as a man. I read through the passage which tells us how the Lord as at last rose in his might and seized the swords to dive out of the temple, the blood of vipers and adders. How terrific was his fight against the Jewish poison. Today, after 2,000 years, with deepest emotion, I recognize more profoundly than ever before the fact that it was for this that he had to shed blood, his blood upon the cross. As a Christian, I have no duty to follow myself to be cheated, but I allow myself to be cheated, but I have the duty to be a fighter for truth and justice. And if there is anything which could demonstrate that we are acting rightly, it is the distress that daily grows. For as a Christian, I have also a duty to my own people, and when I look on my people, I see them work and toil and labor, and at the end of the week they have only for their wages wretchedness and misery. When I go out in the morning and see these men standing in their queefs and look into their pinched faces, then I believe I would be no Christian but a very devil, a rebel, evil, if I felt no pity for them, if I did not, as did our Lord 2,000 years ago, will turn against those by whom today this poor people are plundered and exposed. Well, there I go. A truly impressive amount of authentic material is now available, which confirms that a Soviet-Russian attack was intended. We are also sure about when this attack was to take place, in view of this daughter, the extent of which we are perhaps only now truly aware. I can only thank the Lord God that He enlightened me in time and what has given me strength to do what must be done. Millions of German soldiers may thank Him for their lives and all of Europe for its existence. It may say this today. This wave of more than 20,000 tanks, 100 of divisions, 10 of thousands of artillery pieces, along with more than 10,000 airplanes, had not been kept from being set into motion against wretched Europe, would have been lost. The masses are more likely to believe a big lie than a little one. So far as Germany's attitude towards America is concerned, I have to state, Germany is perhaps the only great power which have never had a colony either in North or South America, or otherwise displayed there any political activity, unless mention being made of the emigration of many millions of Germans and of their work, which however has only been to the benefit of the American continent and of the US of A, and the whole history of the coming into being and of the existence of the US of A. The German Reich have never adopted a political, unfriendly, let alone hostile attitude, but on the contrary, with the blood of many of its sons, it helped to defend the US of A. The German Reich never took part in any war against the US of A. It itself had a war imposed upon it by the USA in 1917, and then for reasons which have been thoroughly revealed by an investigation committee set up by President Roosevelt himself. There are no other differences between the German and the American people, either territorial or political, which could possibly touch the interests, let alone the existence of the US of A. There was always a difference, the BS Constitution, but that cannot be a reason for hostility, so long as the one state does not try to interfere with the other. America is a republic, a democracy, and today is a republic under strong authoritative leadership. The ocean lies between the two states. The divergence between capitalist America and Bolshevik Russia, if such conceptions had any truth in them, would be much greater than between America led by a president and Germany led by a forward. This is my chocolate factory. Consider me fucking Willy Wonka. This is a dictatorship, and consider me fucking Hitler. I'm the dictator of freestyle rapping. I don't see much future for the Americans. It's a decayed country, and they have their racial problem and the problem of social inequalities. My feelings against Americanism are feelings of hatred and deep repugnance. Everything about the behavior of American society reveals that it's half Judas and the other half. But how can one expect a state like that to hold together? Second, but never the National Socialist movement, on the contrary, will always let its foreign policy be determined by the necessity to secure the space necessary to the life of our folk. It knows no Germanism, or Teutonism and Teutonism, as in the case of the national burgoys, but only the spread of its own folk it will never see in the subjugated, so-called Germanized Czechs or Poles. A national let only folkish strengthening, but only the racial weakening of our folk. You see, it's been our misfortune to have the wrong religion. Why didn't we have the religion of the Japanese who regard sacrifice for the fatherland as the highest good, God? But the Mohammedan religion too would have been much more compatible to us than Christianity. Why did it have to be Christianity with its meekness and flabbiness? On the invasion of the Soviet Union, had I known they had as many tanks as that, I'd have fought twice before invading. It is a wonderful thing to see our nation at war in its fully disciplined state. This is exactly what we are experiencing at this time, as Mr. Churchill is demonstrating to us the aerial night attacks he has concocted. He is not doing this because these raids might be particularly effective, but because his Air Force cannot fly over German territory in daylight, whereas German aviators and German planes fly over English soil daily. There is hardly a single Englishman who comes across the North Sea in daytime. They therefore come during the night, and as you know, release their bombs indiscriminately and without any plan onto residential areas, farmhouses, and villages. Wherever they see a sign of light, a bomb is dropped on it. For 3 months past, I have not ordered any answer to begin thinking that they would stop this nonsensical behavior. Mr. Churchill has taken this to be a sign of our weakness. You will understand that we shall give a reply night for night and with increasing force, and if the British Air Force drops to 3 or 4,000 kilos of bombs, then we will drop 150,000, 180,000, 230,000, 330,000, 400,000 kilos or more in one night. We will take over the world. As it spins in the world and it twirls. If they declare that they will attack our cities on a large scale, we will erase theirs. We will put a stop to the game of these night pirates, as God is our witness. As God as our witness, the hour will come when one or the other will crumble, and that one will not be the National Socialist Germany. I have carried through such a struggle once in my life up to the final consequences, and this then led to the collapse. The enemy, who is now sitting in England on Europe's last island, when an opponent declares, I will not come over to your side, I calmly say, your child belongs to us already. What are you? You will pass it on. Your descendants, however, now stand in the new camp. In a short time they will know nothing else but this new community. We will take over the world. It spins and it swirls and it twirls. If the world is lost, then it is of no concern to me. If the people perish in it, I still would not shed a single tear for them, because they did not deserve any better. By the skillful and sustained use of propaganda, one can make a people see even heaven as hell, or an extremely wretched life as paradise. About deputies in the midst of a great battle for the freedom and greatness of the German nation, I called you. The necessity for this is an historic hour. The appeal to general reason. Germany wanted to revise the Versailles Treaty peacefully if possible. Even our enemies knew it was impossible to hold his situation forever. Germany's peaceful attempts at revision did not succeed. Germany did not recognize the legality of this treaty because the victor was not a real victor. Our downfall was due to poor leadership. National Socialism wanted to free Germany from Versailles as well as from the chains of the plutocratic system. In actual fact, the revision had to be forced through against the walls of the French and British rulers. We did not know ourselves just how monstrous this powerful beast was. Had I known, I would have been more reluctant, but I had already made that decision then, and there would be no other possibility. I'm rapping enough, but what is coming will visit the people, not Churchill, who will probably be in Canada. He may think the outcome will be annihilation of Germany, but it will be the destruction of a great world empire. Never ender, rhymer, a freestyler, the destruction of which was never my wish and or aim. I regret the victims the war will exact among civilians in Britain as well as among Germans, even though I know millions of young Germans are restrained to fight England. Churchill may parry my words with the claim that I feel doubt or fear, but in any case I will have the knowledge that I acted rightly according to my conscience. In this hour and before this body, I feel myself obliged to make one more appeal to reason, to England. I do this not as a victory but for the triumph of common sense. Churchill may parry my words with the claim that I feel doubt or fear, but in any case I will have my knowledge that I acted rightly according to my conscience. Despite my sincere efforts, it has not been possible to achieve the friendship with England which I believe would have been blessed by both. I appeal to the insight of the statesman, predicting devastating consequences. I appeal to the rest of the world. We will take over the world. World domination equation. Although I feared that my word would not be heard and would more than ever arose the fury of the warmongers, and I predicted correctly that my appeal would not be heard. Had I finished off France in 39, then history would have taken another course, but then I had to wait until 1940, then a two-front war. That was bad luck. After that, even we were broken. I asked from Poland something to no other than Germany's statesmen could have dared. I asked for the return of the old German provinces, then only with a plebiscite. If Churchill and the warmongers felt half the responsibility toward Europe that I did, they never would have started the war on September 2nd, 1939. War still could have been avoided. The British and the French wanted war, however they wanted a 3-year war in order to reap profits from their war investments. After 18 days, the Polish campaign ended. Then I issued an appeal to responsible men. I wanted all against war, particularly the French against the persons of a war which would be horrible. This only served to incite the Franco-British warmongers who saw their war profits most endangered. They began, however, to call it danger to civilization and culture. World domination will take over the world. It spins and it whirls and it swirls and it twirls. Second speech to the Welchman commanders a week before they invaded Poland in 1939 kill without pity or mercy all men, women, and children of the Polish race of any language. Only thus will we gain the living space that we need. Who still talks nowadays of the extermination of the Americans? White blood Zionists try to make the rest of the world believe that national consciousness of the Jew finds its satisfaction in the creation of a Palestinian state. The Jews again slyly duck the dumb goyim. It doesn't even enter their heads to build up a Jewish state in Palestine for the purpose of living here, there. All they want is a central organization for their international world swindler, endowed with its own sovereign rights and removed from the intervention of other states, a haven for convicted scoundrels and a university for budding crooks. It is a sign of their rising confidence and sense of security that at a time when one section is still playing the German, Frenchman, or Englishman, the other with open effrontery comes out of the Jewish race. Since the beginning of the war, the American President Roosevelt has steadily committed ever more serious crimes against international law, along with illegal attacks, raids against ships and other property of German and Italian citizens. There have been threats and even arbitrary deprivations of personal freedom by internment and such. The increasingly hostile attacks by the American President Roosevelt have reached the point that he has ordered the American Navy to immediately attack, fire upon, and sink all German and Italian ships in complete violation of the international law. Americans officials have been boasted about destroying German submarines in this criminal manner. American cruisers have attacked and captured German and Italian merchant ships, and their peaceful crews were taken away. Imprisonment. In addition, President Roosevelt planned to attack Germany and Italy with military forces in Europe by 1943. At the latest was made public in the United States, the American government made no effort to deny, despite the years of intolerable provocations by President Roosevelt. Germany and Italy sincerely and very patiently tried to prevent the expansion of this war and to maintain relations with the United States, but as a result of his campaign, their efforts have failed. The heaviest blow which ever struck humanity was Christianity. Bolshevism is Christianity's illegitimate child. Both are inventions of the Jew. Now we are being credited with manly, truly astounding war aim, especially by the English. After all, England is quite experienced in issuing proclamations of objectives in warfare, as it has waged the greatest war of wars. The world is over. World domination. We will take over the world. It spins and it swirls and it twirls. Pearl Harbor reaction. We can't lose the war at all. We now have an ally which has never been conquered in 3,000 years. Japan. The state must declare the child to be the most precious treasure of the people. As long as the government is perceived as working for the benefit of the children, the people will happily endure almost any curtailment of liberty and almost any deprivation. Humanitarianism is the expression of the stupidity and cowardice. It goes without saying that we have no affinities with the Japanese. They're too foreign to us by their by their way of living, by their culture. The very first essential for success is a perpetually constant and regular employment of violence. The Jews were responsible for bringing into the Rhineland with the ultimate idea of bastardizing the white race, which they hate, and thus lowering its cultural and political level so that the Jew might dominate it. The race is in danger of being oppressed or even exterminated. The question of legality is only secondary importance. The established power may in such a case employ only those means which are recognized as legal, yet the instinct of self-preservation on the part of the oppressed will always justify to the highest degree the employment of all possible resources. The fact that 9/10 of all smutty literature, artistic tripe, and theatrical banalities had to be be charged to the account of people who formed scarcely 1% of the nation. That fact could not be gainsaid. It was there, had to be admitted. About da 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 la 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 da 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 da. Should the ruling hand, should the ruling hand show signs of weakness in such a state, the state will not be a cause, will not be to cause a kind of hibernation of the state, but rather to awaken the individualist instincts which are slumbering in the ethnological groups. These instincts do not make themselves felt as long as these groups are dominated by a strong central will to govern. The danger which exists in these slumbering separatist instincts can be rendered more or less innocuous only through centuries of common education, common traditions, and common interests. World domination. We'll take over the world. It spins and it whirls and it swirls and it twirls. Da la 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 la. Da la 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 na 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 na. Da 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 na 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 na. Da 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 da. This is my chocolate factory. Consider me fucking Willy Wonka. This is a dictatorship, and consider me fucking Hitler, the dictator of freestyle rapping.